I was 74. It was just another quiet night, or so I thought. At around 2 a.m., I woke up with a sharp cramp tearing through my right leg. I sat up, rubbed it out, and told myself, it's probably just the way I slept. I had no idea it was a warning. 1 week later, I collapsed in my kitchen. No tripping, no slipping. My legs, they simply gave out. The doctor said I was lucky. A few more weeks without help, and I could have had a minor stroke, or something far worse. But here's what shook me most. The cause wasn't something complicated or rare. It was a simple vitamin, one that most seniors are missing, quietly chipping away at their strength. Today, I want to share that story with you, and the 5 essential nutrients that helped me walk strong again, stabilize my blood pressure, and, quite possibly, saved my life. Stick with me to the end because the last one is something most people never think about until it's too late.
You know, your legs are like the foundation of a house. As long as they hold you up, you barely notice. But when they begin to shake, the whole house can come crashing down. I had lived over 70 years without ever thinking that a small issue in my legs could be the first warning sign of a stroke or a deeper problem in my nervous system. It started subtly. I began to notice leg weakness when walking. Sometimes I'd wobble or feel a little dizzy getting out of bed. I told myself that's just old age catching up. But then, things got scary. My feet began to tingle at night, like tiny pins and needles. Sharp cramps would jolt me awake at 2 a.m. Sometimes I'd step onto the floor and feel nothing. Numbness. The worst part? I lost confidence in my own legs. I held on to the walls when walking, avoided stairs, stopped going to the park. My world began shrinking because I no longer trusted the very legs that had carried me all my life.
Then one day, my doctor looked me in the eye and said, "Your legs aren't weak because of your age, Mr. Bennett. They're weak because your nerves aren't sending the right signals, and the root cause could be in your blood or your spine." What I thought was just muscle fatigue, it was actually early-stage nerve damage caused by a serious vitamin B12 deficiency. You see, vitamin B12 helps protect the nerves that control your legs, allowing your brain to send clear, fast messages to your muscles. Without it, signals get delayed or lost. That's when you start to feel numbness, poor coordination, and eventually, you fall. And in older adults, that's not just dangerous. It can be life-threatening, especially for those with a history of high blood pressure or diabetes. Falls are one of the most common causes of hospitalization and even mini strokes in seniors. Thankfully, I caught it in time. I started taking a sublingual B12 supplement and adjusted my meals. More eggs, wild salmon, dairy, even a little chicken liver now and then. Within a few weeks, my balance improved, the cramps stopped, and I could feel my feet again. But more than that, I felt like myself again. I didn't need to be helped across the room anymore. And let me tell you, there's no greater freedom than being able to stand tall and say, "I've got this." If you or someone you love is over 60 and feeling leg weakness, tingling, or unsteadiness, please don't ignore it. Ask your doctor for a blood test. Sometimes, all it takes is one missing vitamin to prevent a fall, avoid a stroke, and restore your independence. For most of my life, I believed that as long as my heart was beating, I was fine. But I was wrong. Because sometimes your heart keeps beating, but beats the wrong way. And that slight misfire can slowly drag your entire body down, starting with your legs and ending in a dangerous fall. I used to feel this strange, constant fatigue in my legs even after doing something as simple as washing dishes or walking upstairs. Other times, I'd feel my heart pounding hard for no reason, almost like I was running, even while sitting. At first, I thought, maybe I'm just getting older, or maybe it's the weather. But when that leg fatigue lasted all day, I knew something wasn't right. During a routine checkup, my doctor didn't mention any major illness. Instead, he asked me a question I didn't expect. Are you eating enough greens, beans, and seeds, Mr. Bennett? You might be low on magnesium and potassium, two minerals that keep your heart rhythm steady and your muscles moving properly. That was the first time I truly learned about magnesium deficiency. He explained how magnesium helps your muscles relax after contracting. Without enough of it, your muscles don't release. They stay tense, tight, crampy. Now imagine if that muscle is your heart. That's how you get irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure, and full body tension. Then there's potassium, the mineral that keeps your body's electrical system stable. When potassium levels drop, you might feel trembling, shortness of breath, or heart palpitations, even with the lightest effort.
Suddenly, it all made sense. Those subtle flutterings in my chest, the random leg cramps at night, and my restless sleep. It wasn't just stress or age. It was my body's quiet cry for help because of an electrolyte imbalance caused by my diet and worsened by the blood pressure and diabetes medications I'd been taking for years. So I made a change. I added a banana or avocado every morning, both rich in potassium. At lunch, I included pumpkin seeds and steamed spinach. For dinner, I had black beans, sweet potatoes, or even just a glass of coconut water. Within a few weeks, my heartbeat became steadier, my sleep deeper, and most importantly, my legs stopped feeling like they were made of stone. Here's the truth I've learned the hard way. When your heart beats in rhythm, your whole body begins to move in harmony. It wasn't just a physical recovery. It was the return of inner peace. I could walk without second-guessing my steps, breathe without catching my breath, sleep without being startled awake by a cramp or pounding heart. So if you've ever felt your heart race without cause, or noticed fatigue and leg cramps creeping in, please consider the role of magnesium and potassium in heart health. It might only take one smart meal a day to reclaim the rhythm of your body and the freedom of your later years.
When did we start being afraid of the sun? When did sunlight, once a symbol of energy and life, become something we shut out behind closed curtains? I used to be that person, avoiding sunlight, staying indoors. But what I didn't realize is that when the light disappeared from my life, my body started losing its sense of direction. I began experiencing strange balance issues. I'd stand up and feel like the room was shifting, even though I hadn't moved. Sometimes it felt like my brain and my legs were out of sync. My steps slow, my reactions delayed. At first, I thought it was just aging. Maybe my mind was slowing down. But then the doctor said something that surprised me. You might be low on vitamin D3, Mr. Bennett. It's not just for bones. It's what connects your muscles, nerves, and brain into one smooth system. I was shocked. Like many seniors, I thought vitamin D only helped with osteoporosis. I had no idea it played a critical role in neuromuscular coordination, helping you move with control, timing, and stability. The doctor explained, when you're low on vitamin D, your muscles weaken, your reflexes slow, and your nervous system can't react fast enough. This makes every movement, every step, less coordinated, more fragile. And in seniors, this often shows up as frequent stumbles, balance problems, and eventually, dangerous falls. What's worse As we age, our skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight. We also tend to stay indoors more, eat less, and rarely realize we're running on empty. I learned the hard way. One afternoon, I slipped while doing something simple, washing a glass at the sink. The floor wasn't wet, I wasn't distracted, my legs just didn't catch me in time. That fall left me sore for a week, but the real pain was in realizing my body hadn't failed from weakness, it failed from disconnection.
After that, I made a change. I began taking vitamin D3 supplements every morning. I opened the curtains to let in the morning light. I started walking outside for 10 minutes each day, under safe, soft sunlight. I added salmon, eggs, and fortified milk to my meals. After just a month, I noticed a powerful shift. I was standing up with ease, walking with more confidence, and feeling like my body was once again moving as one unit. It was as if my mind and muscles had reconnected, like an old radio finally finding the right frequency again. Here's what I learned. When you lose vitamin D, you don't just lose strength. You lose connection. The connection between your brain and your legs, between intention and action, between being alive and truly living. So if you, or someone you care about, is showing signs like difficulty standing up, feeling unsteady on stairs, delayed reactions when stumbling, think about vitamin D3. Sometimes a little sunlight and the right nutrients are all it takes to help someone stay upright in every sense of the word.
Ever built a house? Bricks are important, yes, but without mortar, that wall will crumble, no matter how solid it looks. Your body is the same. Calcium is the brick, but vitamin K is the mortar. Without it, calcium doesn't know where to go. And when it goes rogue, it doesn't always end up in your bones. I used to feel proud of myself, drinking milk every day, eating cheese, and taking calcium supplements religiously. But during a routine checkup, the doctor looked at me and said, "Your blood calcium levels are high, but your bone density is low, and your leg arteries are starting to show signs of vascular calcification." I was stunned. I was feeding my bones, but my bones weren't taking it. Instead, my blood vessels were becoming stiff and clogged with calcium. That's when I learned about the unsung hero, vitamin K2, the body's traffic controller for calcium. When you're deficient in K2, calcium gets misdirected. It leaves your bones brittle and starts hardening the walls of your arteries instead. The result? Osteoporosis, high blood pressure, a stiff body, and a silent increase in stroke risk. I started reading, learning, and realized vitamin K1 is found in green leafy vegetables like kale, spinach, and broccoli. Vitamin K2, the one that directs calcium to bones, is mostly in fermented foods like natto, aged cheese, egg yolks, and organ meats like liver. The problem? Most seniors don't eat these foods regularly. And if you're on blood thinners, vitamin K becomes even trickier to manage. So I made slow, mindful changes. Added steamed greens to my lunch every day. Ate soft-boiled eggs and aged cheese a few times a week. Even tried natto, that funky-smelling Japanese superfood. And with my doctor's guidance, I started a gentle dose of K2-MK7 supplement. A few months later, the results were real. My calcium was finally staying home. Bone density had improved slightly, and blood flow in my legs felt lighter, cleaner. I personally felt more stable, had fewer leg cramps, and even noticed a more consistent blood pressure. I used to think taking calcium was enough, but now I understand. Calcium only helps if it knows where to go. Vitamin K is the silent guide, the one that keeps your body's internal map on track. So if you're already taking calcium, but still facing weak bones, lower back pain, tingling in your limbs, blood pressure swings, ask your doctor about vitamin K2. Maybe your bones aren't missing material, they're just waiting for the right messenger.
Think of your body as a phone. Now imagine you're in your 60s or 70s and your battery is permanently stuck at 20%. You're still functioning, but everything feels slower, heavier, and no matter how much you rest, you never fully recharge. That constant exhaustion, it's not just aging. It might be a sign that you're running low on something small but vital, vitamin B6. I remember a time when even a 10-minute walk would leave me wiped out. My legs weren't in pain, my heart rate was normal, but I'd come home and feel completely drained, like someone had pulled the plug. At first, I blamed it on poor sleep or just getting older. But my doctor said something that surprised me. Your body may be lacking vitamin B6, the nutrient that helps convert food into energy, rebuild tissue, and balance your nervous system, especially after activity. I didn't know this, but B6 is involved in over 100 critical functions in the body. From serotonin production, the hormone that regulates mood, to building red blood cells, to help your muscles and nerves recover after strain. Without it, seniors may experience chronic fatigue, even with plenty of rest, slow muscle recovery after falls, illness, or physical therapy, mood swings, irritability and insomnia, unsteadiness or lightheadedness when standing or turning quickly. I realized something important. After 60, every small task costs more energy. Without enough B6, your body simply can't recover fast enough, leaving you in a constant state of depletion. And if you're on medications for diabetes, arthritis, or blood pressure, you may be absorbing even less of this key vitamin than you think. So I made some small, intentional changes. Added more chicken breast and salmon to my meals, ate bananas, sweet potatoes, and whole grains regularly, took a low-dose B-complex supplement after talking to my doctor. Within a few weeks, I noticed the difference. I was sleeping more soundly, mornings felt lighter, less sluggish, and after household chores or walks, I no longer needed long rest breaks. Most importantly, my mind felt clearer, my mood more stable, and my confidence returning. My doctor called B6 the nerve signal booster. I call it the silent key to recovery. Not flashy or instant, but powerful enough to help recharge your body a little more each day. So, if you or a loved one is always feeling tired despite sleeping well, struggling with irritability, anxiety, or insomnia, taking longer to recover from illness, injury, or physical exertion, ask your doctor about vitamin B6. You may not be out of willpower, you may just be out of energy reserves. Imagine walking on a balance beam. Just one small tilt, and you fall. But what if your instability isn't coming from your legs? What if it's coming from inside your cells? A tiny imbalance, almost invisible, yet it can cause your legs to tremble, your heart to skip a beat, and your body to feel completely exhausted. That's often the hidden sign of a potassium deficiency. I used to feel my legs getting tired quickly, even on days when I barely moved. At night, I'd get twitches in my calves or feel this odd restlessness that kept me from falling asleep. Some mornings, I'd wake up feeling like I'd run a marathon in my dreams with a racing heart and no energy. I assumed it was a blood pressure issue. But then my doctor asked something unexpected. Have you been eating bananas, sweet potatoes, or white beans lately? You might be low on potassium, a mineral that helps regulate your muscles, heart, and nerve function. That's when I learned. Potassium is like the internal rhythm keeper of the body. When potassium levels drop, the effects can be serious. Muscles contract but don't relax properly, causing cramps and soreness.
Heart rhythm may become irregular, leading to palpitations or breathlessness. Limbs feel weak or shaky, especially during physical effort. Sleep becomes shallow with frequent wake-ups and leg discomfort. And here's the real concern. Seniors are especially prone to potassium loss. Many blood pressure meds, diuretics, and diabetes medications flush potassium out without you even realizing it. So, I made changes, small, intentional. I started the day with a banana or avocado, added steamed sweet potatoes and spinach to lunch, included white beans, oranges, and coconut water in my weekly meals, and I always checked with my doctor before adding any potassium supplements. After a few weeks, the difference was clear. Fewer muscle cramps, especially at night. More stamina when walking, less leg fatigue. Steady heart rhythm, and clearer mornings. These weren't dramatic changes, but they gave me back something I didn't know I had lost. A sense of internal control. I realized something profound. Balance isn't always about what's happening outside. Sometimes it's about what's missing inside. And potassium, often overlooked, is the silent conductor that keeps your heart beating right, your muscles relaxed, and your steps grounded and safe. If you or someone you care for is experiencing frequent nighttime cramps or twitching muscles, unusual heart rhythm, fatigue, or sleep disturbances, or are currently taking diuretics, blood pressure, or diabetes medications, it might be time to revisit your potassium intake. You may not need to add more. You should stop running on empty.
Have you ever felt like an old piano? Not broken, not useless, but the notes don't sound right anymore. And you think, maybe it's just age. But sometimes, all it takes is a little tuning. And suddenly, that same instrument can play beautiful music again. Your body is just like that. Not broken, just missing a few keys, a few silent, vital nutrients. In this podcast, we've taken a quiet, thoughtful journey through vitamin D3, restoring coordination, muscle control, and fall prevention in seniors. Vitamin K2, guiding calcium to your bones and away from your arteries. Vitamin B6, helping your body recharge, sleep better, and rebuild energy. Potassium, supporting heart rhythm, easing muscle cramps, and stabilizing tired legs. These are small nutrients, but when they're missing, the effects cascade, from night cramps, dizziness, and shaky balance, to chronic fatigue, emotional instability, and the quiet fear of falling. I know you're not chasing youth. You're simply looking for strength, independence, and peace of mind. A life where you're in control and not a burden on your loved ones. And here's the best part. Even after 60, 70, or 80, your body can still recover. It can still get stronger if you start listening. So what can you do starting today? Revisit your daily meals. Are you getting enough of these 4 essential nutrients? Ask your doctor about simple blood tests. Find out what your body might be missing. Share this podcast with someone you love, someone who may also be silently struggling. If today's message resonated with you, please leave a comment, share your thoughts, or ask a question. We read every message, and your voice helps us serve this community better. And remember, aging is inevitable, but weakness isn't always destiny. Sometimes all it takes is to understand, nourish, and restore. And you'll find that you can walk stronger, sleep deeper, and live each day on your own terms. Thank you for walking with me through this journey today. If you're here still listening, it means you care, not just about getting older, but about growing stronger. Aging isn't something we can pause, but strength, balance, and clarity, those can be rebuilt with small changes, daily attention, and the right support. I'm not a doctor, just a man who fell once and decided never to fall again without understanding why. If today's episode helped you, even in a small way, please consider subscribing, sharing, or simply leaving a message. Because the more we talk, the more we learn. And the more we learn, the better we age. Until next time, take your vitamins, take your walk, and take back your life, one step at a time.